I just the fact that the expectation is some, I would assume, grown man somewhere is going to throw something. Throw it, whether, I don't care if it's a beer or a battery, whatever it is. That is literally illegal behavior. And we just accept it because it's in the context of a football game. What Jefferson's going to get fined for what he did. The fans
did something hit him?
Yeah, the beer hit him in the face.
The beer went over his head, didn't it?
When he tried to go into the stands.
Oh, well, that was okay. But if he had kept going, that would have never happened to him. The cup went over his head.
The cup went over his head.
Okay, all he had to do was keep running.
Right.
That's all he had to keep. Oh, he did the two. I stopped, and I'm going to take
my... right there it hits him.
Well, what?
But you can't. How can you... Cece.
Keep going. You're a professional, Nick. There's only 1,600 people like you who do your job. All right? Act like you're special. Know you're a professional. You've been ejected from the game. The worst thing can happen for you is to stop. The next worst thing can happen for you is to take your helmet off.
I understand that. I think a human reaction, though, to someone, you're a grown man, another grown man throws something at your face, and the human reaction is to stop. Now, your point that you would have had more professionalism,
Nick, I've had people throw stuff at me,
and I applaud you for reacting the way you did. I wouldn't be able to. He obviously wasn't able to. My question,
Nick, when you've rehearsed this, when you've gone over this as a team, so you react in that way without any training, yeah, I might expect that. But when people tell you, okay, these are the things we're going to do, coming on and off the field, these are normal workplace procedures that you know. All right? When I grew up in Philadelphia, when I drafted, man, we played the Giants, we played the Redskins, and the Cowboys. You think you're leaving the field one time without your helmet on? It's standard procedure, Nick.
But the point that I'm making quickly is the fact that you have to have a standard procedure of leave the field with your helmet on because it's just a foregone conclusion that some of these idiots are going to throw objects or batteries or projectiles or drinks onto the field is an embarrassment for the fans at large. I've been to how many football games? You're a grown-up and you're throwing things on the field? Like, I'm just saying the workplace conditions that you're saying you have to deal with. Football players have to deal with a lot of things that are part and parcel with their job. One of them should not be that some drunk jerk is going to throw something at you when you're leaving the field. Like, I don't think that's out of line to say that'd be the What do you think should happen to the fan if they are able to, with the cameras, figure it out?
Their season tickets, they should be taken from them. They shouldn't be allowed to go to an NFL game. It's pretty simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That part we agree on.
But don't be a dummy. Don't stop. And don't take your helmet off.
One of the things I love about this show is when I'm surprised by takes. And for some reason, I thought you guys were going to have opposite takes. And that's why I wanted to just listen to that conversation. But moving on, the Giants hosted the Cowboys. We'll get to how bad Eli Manning looked in a minute. But Dak Prescott came up big. 332 yards, 3 touchdowns. Dallas keeps their slim playoff hopes alive. Here is Dak Prescott after the game.
It's confidence anytime you're doing well and you're growing and you're feeling yourself and you're growing off what your teammates are doing. So, yeah, it's definitely confidence, and it's good for us moving forward. But we're going to come in, we're going to get back at it tomorrow, and we know it's a new week, and we know the position we're in.
So, Cece, on one hand, sure, Dak played a great game. On the other hand, he played the 2-11 New York Giants. So, I mean, how much credit does Dak deserve for beating this team?
Jenna, I think that we might be able to get a collection of 30 dudes together, and we might be able to beat the Giants. Right. The Giants are horrible. I mean, look at everything that's going on with the Giants in the last 3 weeks. I mean, what NFL team, besides Cleveland, would have not have won? The second team you want to go play right now is the New York Football Giants. Oh, they just benched Eli. Oh, they just fired the coach. Oh, they just fired the general manager. Like, that's the perfect time to come to New York to play them. A big rivalry game where how many starters they're missing. Their offensive line is awful. Their secondary is depleted. Like,
it worked out great for Dallas.
And Cece,
yeah, stop. I mean, this was like a scrimmage game.
Despite that, it's 10-10 after 3 quarters. They're in a dogfight through 3 quarters.
So I didn't see the great game that some other people saw. I saw Dak throw 2 short passes, and I thought 2 guys who turned those plays into special plays. I don't believe that was because of Dak. So, to me, this was a game that they were supposed to win by a decisive margin. So this was my total expectation in this game.
All right, I want to give Dak credit for one thing first that I know how impressed you were with this one throw because we were watching it together. The throw to Witten. The touchdown pass that gave him the lead, that wasn't a yards after catch play.
Just wait 1 second.
Yeah?
He threw one ball good.
No. I know that in real time, that was a big-time throw when it was a tie game, 10-10, and he deserves all the credit for that. But other than that throw, this is one of the most deceiving stat lines you're ever going to see, where you see 330 yards passing. The Cowboys came into this game dead last in the NFL in yards after catch, historically bad in yards after catch. His 3 giant completions, the 50-yard touchdown to Dez Bryant. That was a quick slant, one safety who was covering the middle of the field. He made one guy miss. The rookie broke that tackle, and it's to the house. 54-yard completion to Cole Beasley. Over the middle, Beasley makes a bunch of guys miss. And the 81-yard touchdown to Rod Smith, another very short pass. So yards after catch where the Cowboys had been terrible, they were great at yesterday. And that was the difference. This game was 10-10 going into the fourth and 17-10 midway through the fourth. Now, Dak played a clean game. His first 3 games without Zeke, 0 touchdowns, 5 picks.
Was this the best games with Zeke out of it that's Dak
Oh,
said?
absolutely. But it's he had played 3 terrible games and 1 mediocre game without Zeke. So this was, yes, it was definitely the best game he's played. But when you just look at, all right, so what did Dak do? Dak had 330 yards, a 137 quarterback rating, 3 touchdowns, no picks. That looks like the best game anyone played in the NFL Sunday. That's not what it was.
All right, let's talk about what happened on the other side. Eli Manning, who got a hero's return in the Meadowlands, but didn't have a hero's performance. Eli Manning threw for 228 yards, but he did have 2 picks. So the Giants managed just 10 points. So, Nick, you know the conversation now has to be, what do the Giants do with Eli Manning next week? They bench him, they put Geno Smith in, everything goes to pot. They get nervous. They quickly put the Band-Aid back on. They just stick it back on there, and they say, okay, go back out there, Eli. And that's the situation we find ourselves in now. What happens to Eli Manning?
Oh, I mean, what happens is he'll start next week. It's not what would happen if I were the coach. But they just fired the coach who benched him before. But you know now at this point, Eli, maybe a change of scenery will change his production. But this iteration of Eli Manning is not even an average NFL starting quarterback. Like Eli, we can go down the list. He's 24th in quarterback rating. He's 34th in yards per attempt. There's only 32 damn teams. Like, the only thing, much like Dez Bryant, the only thing he's a lead in is targets. The only thing Eli Manning's a lead in is attempts. He's thrown the 6th most passes, but he's netted the 19th most yards. Like, we know Eli Manning is done with the Giants as an above-average NFL quarterback. I would, if you spent a 3rd-round pick on a quarterback, I would want to see him play now that the season's lost, but they're clearly not going to do that.
But just quickly, why are you so confident that these aren't the numbers that are now going to be stuck with Eli? Like, why do you think he could be so much better if he goes somewhere else?
No, it's not that I'm sure he's going to be better if he goes somewhere else. It's that I'm sure he's not going to be better with the Giants. Now, maybe he's shot no matter where he is, but with the Giants, I think it's done for him.
Yeah, the Giants, he only has one offensive player. That's Ingram, the tight end. So trying to judge any quarterback with this offensive line, the reason why Eli, his yards per attempt is way down, because the offensive line, you can't hold the football. So if you can't hold the football because no protection, you have to throw the ball short and quick. So that leads to that number. If I'm the Giants right now, I start Eli in this game, I go back to the same plan that they had 2 weeks ago. That's Eli, you're going to start the game, all right? At some point in the game, we're going to get Webb into the game. Now, if you choose not to start, no problem. You're a big boy, all right? But this is the option I'm going to give you out of respect. You can start the game, but at some point, you will be pulled for the game because I need to see in the next 3 games, and it might not be in the Eagles game this week. It might be in week 16 and 17, but it's either a 3-game window, a 2.5-game window, or a 2-game window. Those are the ways that I look at the young prospect to see if he's worthy or what do I do in this upcoming draft.
Because at this point, the only question mark they have is if Davis Webb can play. We know what Geno can do. You obviously know what Eli can do, and you know where
Davis Webb is going to look awful when they put him in there.
And now we know what Davis Webb can do.
That's
so
exactly
we have no
what's
more
going
questions.
to happen.
So we've actually answered everything. Thanks for joining us. We're back here tomorrow. Coming up next, no, we're not going, for my mom who thinks the show's a half hour. Do the Eagles still have